thank you everybody for joining us on our virtual online introduction to the urology residency program at CMC Carolinas Medical Center. This is not normally how we do it. Normally, this would be an in-person, face-to-face presentation, and you all be sitting in the conference room with us and sitting there with your nice ties and splendid outfits and interview gear. But today, we're going to do it this way. So who are we? Carolinas Medical Center is a part of Atrium Health, which is a large integrated medical center. And the mission of our medical center is to improve health, elevate hope, and advance healing for all. And so what does all that mean, and how do we integrate that in the way we go about our business? Our mission within the Department of Urology is to train urologists who keep the patient at the center of all they do. And that's true not just for our trainees, but for our faculty and everything in the way we construct how we go about our business. So if you think about the various components of our mission statement, improving health, that's patient care. So we always strive to deliver excellence in patient care, and we're obviously looking to train residents to be the best urologists they can be. Advanced healing, that's research. So we have multiple different research projects, some of which you'll hear about later, that you can begin involved with. And we have every expectation and anticipation that our trainees will become involved in research projects over the course of their training. Education, I mean, that's elevating hope, right? Hope is about the future. Hope is about looking forward. And if you come here and be part of our program, we have education and the advancement of resident education as a central core about what we're doing. Again, with the patient at the center of how we organize that. And then that intentional pause is there for a reason. When we say for all, we literally mean service to the community, irrespective of their ability to pay. So our system, our hospital system, does virtually all the free care in this market and does a vastly disproportionate amount of the work for the underprivileged. And we're proud to be a part of that, and our residents and our trainees are definitely part of that process. So again, Atrium Health is one of the nation's leading, most innovative healthcare organizations. We are very large. We have the largest primary care network in the Carolinas. We have more than 62,000 employees, including over 2,000 physicians. We provide a system-wide series of benefits for our community, not just in healthcare, but in other resources as well. We have over 10 million patient encounters annually, and we serve as a resource for over 14 million citizens in both North, South Carolina, as well as parts of Georgia, and even now parts of East Tennessee. We have 44 hospitals and over 900 care locations, but do not panic. The residency program and your training is very much focused in the middle of all this in Charlotte. I'm just simply pointing out the scale of Atrium Health. The Carolinas Medical Center is where you would spend the vast majority of your time. So to that end, what about our campus and where would you be training? What are the physical locations and sites look like? So the heart of the whole operation is Carolinas Medical Center. This is one of the largest academic medical centers in North Carolina and one of 5 teaching hospitals in our state. We are a large 874-bed tertiary medical center. We are the only level 1 trauma center in the city. We serve as the Charlotte campus for UNC's School of Medicine. So we have an integral partnership with UNC Chapel Hill. And we have UNC medical students who are with us for their 3rd and 4th years, and who dedicate their 3rd and 4th years to doing rotations at our facility. And we've been doing training for a long time. Some folk may or may not have heard of us, since our urology program is relatively new. But as far as training residents and fellows, we've been doing it for years. And we have over 40 residency and fellowship programs, 23 of which are ACGME certified. The other thing I just wanted to point out is that our medical center is fairly compact in the sense that the vast majority of the rotations and work you'll be doing are all in one location. That's important because what that basically means is you're not going to be in a car zooming between 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 different hospital locations in order to do your training and the care you're delivering. So what you're seeing in front of you is largely the Carolinas Medical Center. That includes actually Levine's Children's Hospital, which I'll talk about in just a moment, as well as the Levine Cancer Institute. And you'll note in the background is downtown Charlotte. They actually call it uptown in Charlotte for whatever reason, but it's basically the middle of the city. And so you get a sense that you have an opportunity to be part of an urban environment to the degree you want that, but also it is a very pleasant and easy place to live. Notice that Charlotte loves its streets, so it's a very easy place to live. Levine's Children's Hospital was opened in 2007. It is now the largest children's hospital between Atlanta and Washington, D.C. We have over 30 pediatric specialties, many of which have received accolades from the U.S. News and World Report. And the Levine Cancer Institute was formed in 2010, and its research and administrative and clinical headquarters in Levine Cancer Institute 1, which is actually where I'm sitting at the moment, was opened in 2012, and last year we opened a second building. We are very clinically busy. We have over 11,000 new cancer patients we see annually, and we enroll roughly about 1,000 patients in clinical trials every year. So we are very, very clinically busy, and we are very busy on the research side as well. As I mentioned previously, we've been doing GME for a long time. We've had GME programs here at Carolinas Medical Center since 1963. Current state, we have over 300 residents and fellows on campus. We have almost 400 teaching faculty. Again, we are partnered with the UNC School of Medicine. And we have every year 28 of the UNC School of Medicine students decide to do their third and fourth years with us. And so our new crop of third years will be joining us at the end of June. Total numbers, we have over 1,000 residents, medical students, physician extenders, and nursing students, if you count all the various teaching institutions we have on campus. So these are our rotation sites. I'm going to go over them and talk a little bit about our teaching faculty as we do so. So the first is at Carolinas Medical Center itself, and you'll see the various buildings here. You'll know most of what I'm going to talk about is literally within walking distance. It's like within a block and a half of each other. First, our McKay Urology Clinic. That's where our benign urologic practitioners are mostly located. They include Max McKibben. So Dr. McKibben joined us a little over a year, almost 2 years now. And he did his reconstructive fellowship with Al Murray at UT Southwestern, and he focuses almost exclusively on lower urinary tract male reconstruction and reconstructive surgery. Manish Patel joined us from Wake Forest about 3 years ago, where he did his fellowship in advanced stone care, and he specializes almost exclusively in the management of complex stone disease. Mark McCooley has joined us. Mark trained in Syracuse and particularly focuses his work in male lower urinary tract dysfunction, BPH, and laser therapies for BPH. Ornab Roy has been with the faculty for, almost over 10 years now. Dr. Roy actually did his medical school at Vanderbilt, where I was for a while, but did fellowship training with Luke Cavusi. And his expertise is in minimally invasive surgery, both in upper tract reconstruction, MIS, partial nephrectomy, and to some degree BPH. Angela Shang is a urologist who focuses in female pelvic organ dysfunction, and specifically lower urinary tract dysfunction, chronic pelvic pain syndrome, and complex voiding dysfunction. And she's been with us for a number of years now. Mike Kennelly does a variety of different things, but is a world-renowned expert in female reconstructive urology, spinal cord injury, complex neurogenic bladder dysfunction. and he works at a variety of different locations. And Jillian Stearns, we were fortunate enough to recruit to join us in the fall. She did her fellowship training at Memorial Sloan Kettering, and also is specifically works in female lower urinary tract dysfunction, complex neurogenic bladder dysfunction, and also works with spinal cord injured patients, as does Dr. Kennelly. At Levine Cancer Institute, we've actually got a busy and thriving urologic oncology practice. I trained at the Cleveland Clinic and did my fellowship training at the University of Southern California. And I mostly do complex open urologic oncology, particularly in bladder and kidney cancer. Dr. Stephen Riggs, who you'll be hearing from shortly, is our residency program director, but he did his oncology training at UCLA. And is particularly interested in complex, robotically driven urologic oncology. Chris Gaston has been with the program for many years. He's a trainee out of MD Anderson for his fellowship training and does both robotic and open complex urologic oncology. And about a year, almost 2 years now, we were lucky enough to recruit Jamie Kearns, who did his fellowship training at the University of Washington. And he focuses almost exclusively in prostate cancer and also spends about half his time doing health sciences research in prostate cancer and prostate-related screening. And Dr. Roy, in his role with minimally invasive surgery for partial nephrectomy and small renal masses, also functions out of Levine Cancer Institute. And our latest recruit, Justin Matule, is actually currently a fellow at MD Anderson. Justin will be joining us in the summer and will be spending about half his time at our main campus here, and will also spend about half his time at another campus at University Hospital, which I'll show you in just a little bit, and will focus exclusively on urologic oncology. Pediatric urology, we have two pediatric urologists. Dr. Mark Williams was with St. Jude's in Memphis for many years, but we were lucky enough to have him join us about 3 years ago. He also, because of his leadership, has become the chief of surgery at Levine Children's Hospital. And he was able to help us recruit Allie Keenan, who did her fellowship at the University of Indiana. And she has been with us for over a year now, and she focuses very much on the use of robotics in pediatric urology. Carolinas Rehab is one of the premier rehabilitation hospitals in the country, focusing on spinal cord injury and other rehab-related diseases. And both Dr. Kennelly and Dr. Stearns, who I brought up earlier, they do their work with complex neurogenic bladder dysfunction and spinal cord injury at this facility. And then, as I mentioned, we do the vast majority of the free care and the delivery of care for the underprivileged and resource-constrained within our area. And most of that happens at our Myers Park Clinic, where we have three physicians. Mike O'Neill, who has been a urologist in the community for many years and is a fabulous teacher. Dr. Chris Tegland, who actually founded the Department of Urology many years ago and recently stepped down from that role, but continues to serve in the Myers Park Clinic. And Dr. Lee Geis, who is also was a urologist in New Orleans for many years and then started up a separate hospital system here in Charlotte for a while. And we were lucky enough to bring him to us about 3-4 years ago. He actually leads a lot of the efforts on the outpatient basis at that clinic. So we're really fortunate to have all three of them. One of the unique things about our program, particularly since we're relatively young and relatively new, is that we actually have a large force of advanced practice providers who are highly skilled. We have 14 of them. And these are among probably the most high-functioning APPs in the country and are capable of doing a lot of different things that go even above and beyond what most APPs will do. And one of the unique aspects of our program is the opportunity to integrate the learning with these APPs. The other thing that allows us to do is that we can very much tailor your education, your rotations, and how we craft your experience in residency to be around your educational experience. We do not need to worry about service requirements because we have a workforce and we have people who can definitely help in that capacity. Just to mention briefly, we do have several fellowships. We have a urologic oncology fellowship, and we also partner with our colleagues in the gynecology department for a urogynecology fellowship. Fortunately, because we're a relatively small program and we are extremely busy, that does not in any way detract from the surgical experience. And if anything, having our urologic oncology fellowship has allowed an extra teaching opportunity, particularly for our chief residents. And then I will just mention briefly two other site locations. This is the only outside rotation that you'll be asked to do. By and large, all the rest are within that small area. At our nearby hospital, Mercy, which is literally like 2 miles away, you'll have an opportunity to work with one of the community urologists who's fellowship trained in infertility. So you'll get a direct experience with that. And at University Hospital, which is about a 20-minute drive, but there's a very busy private practice group that offers a community urology experience. And this is also where Justin Matule will be doing some urologic oncology starting in summer. Okay, and so for a little more detail on the specific rotations, I'm going to turn it over to my partner in crime, Dr. Steve Riggs.
Yeah, thank you. So just to follow up on the rotations, everything is pretty much centric to what we call CMC main. Your call is only at CMC main. When we do it, of course, that's under what we have right now, which is only one resident a year. And we're quite sensitive, at least I am quite sensitive to the travel and the travel time. And the Mercy location is very close. It's about a mile away, and the university, I think it's about 6 to 8 miles away. And we do offer some teleconferencing opportunities. We've also tried to structure the conferences to account for the fact that the resident is at that location. Can you go in just a bit? Perfect. All right, so this is representative of what we have going on right now in our rotations. We are currently pursuing to increase our resident complement to 2 a year, but this is what it looks like currently. Up top is the Euro 1 year, and we spent a lot of time. We have a great collaboration with general surgery, and we spent a couple years kind of figure out what this looks best and how this should work. We've modified just one of the general surgery rotations this year. I will tell you that they take call in the general surgery pool the entire 12 months. And then they take 1 night of call in the urology pool the 6 months during the year. As you can see, there's 3 consistent months at the months 10, 11, and 12 before they roll into urology. The call pool in general surgery is really has been pushed by our current residents. It allows you to become very familiar with a lot of care around surgery. Also, just collaborate and get to know a lot of the teammates here and your co-residents. And so we have continued with that, and it seems to be working out very well. We have a fantastic general surgery department here. So we've historically called some of the rotations gold and blue, as you'll see represented here. We are getting ready to morph out of this. The newer how it's going to look for 20 and 21, at least for the current complement of 1 resident a year, does a little bit more around assigning a certain attendings to them, to the residents, and getting away from this designation. But this is what it looked like this past year. Essentially, the gold is a consult service. The blue is a service that is already made up of private patients, essentially, or patients that are already known to various faculty within our department. We have 2 separate 3-month blocks of pediatrics. We do focus down on pelvic health and reconstructive urology in the R3 year. We do have quite a large female opportunity here, and I do feel confident saying you get very well trained in that discipline. And then you come back and focus around reconstructive urology in the last 3 months of the fourth year. And then you can see down at the bottom the benign cancer chief and how that looks. And then there's obviously some nuances within the stratification under these. So what I have learned over time is that we try to fail forward. We do take a lot of feedback from our residents and the faculty. One of our challenges has honestly been we do have so much volume. Most of the residents see all that opportunity, and it's really been my job and the faculty's job to try to rein that in and be logical and stepwise in your progression and education. If you can go to the next, please. This has definitely evolved as well. That's something you may hear me say, and when we are able to have a question and answer session, that'll be a common theme. I feel like every year we get a little bit better. We evolve. When people ask me about building a program or starting a program, I'd say it's a lot harder than I thought, and that is because you don't always know what's in front of you. But at the same time, there's such huge opportunity, and we have such a great collaborative department and resident group that it's been a lot of fun. And I think you get better each year, each month. And we do a lot of feedback and a lot of just being honest about what's not working and what is. So we have a journal club 9 months of the year up top that usually runs on Monday. We also have a prostate MRI conference that the radiologists work with our residents with very well. We also have another just radiology conference that works quarterly, as you can see on Wednesdays, with Dr. Childress, who is just fantastic. Then we have a small kidney tumor conference, which is small renal masses. We have multidisciplinary tumor board. Now, not every week will the residents be required to go to these conferences. It would depend on what rotation you are. We used to do, this has just recently changed with COVID and all the pandemic. We used to do all our conference on one day. We started at 6:30 and we ran till about 9:30 or 10. We do read the AUA updates in succession during the year, and we also work off the core curriculum on the AUA website, which most programs are utilizing now. We have pivoted to breaking that conference up to Thursday, starting at 6:45, and then having our grand rounds, basically our urology rounds on Friday. And that schedule is anything from resident presentations to faculty presentations to invited speakers. And I work with the chief resident to figure out what that looks like. So that's in general kind of our conference schedule weekly. Next slide, please. There are a fair number of research opportunities. I've just listed a couple here, whether it's in the benign space or whether it's in the cancer space. We do have a large volume of cancer, and so we have several prospective data sets that are available. We do a lot around enhanced recovery. Jamie Kearns does a lot with outcomes and some quality research.
Which is a large integrated
MR, and so he has started to really develop a robust program around that. And then we have a database around small kidney tumors. So that's just a short idea of what we have. But research is definitely one of our missions and definitely one of our goals of our department, and really does follow in with who we believe we are and what residents and trainees we're looking to attract here. Next slide. So just a little bit about Charlotte. I think one fortunate thing we are, and any resident, whether they're in our program or in another program here, would tell you this is a fantastic city. Its population is around 2.5 million. We are big Carolina Panther fans here. The Panther Stadium is just up the street from the hospital. We have the Hornets. There's a nice AAA baseball team that we're unable to utilize right now, but it's a lot of fun during the spring weather. Golf is big here as well. The Wells Fargo Championship and the PGA was actually here 2 years ago, and is coming back in a couple years to a golf course very close here. And then this is just a shot of what Charlotte is, the Queen City, a lot of arts. Now, please continue. This is a greenway that runs around the hospital, so a lot of people are outdoor. The weather is very favorable here. It certainly gets warmer during the summer, but very favorable, a lot of outdoor opportunities. I think something's going to come up about the Whitewater Center. There's a lot of craft breweries in town here. The Whitewater Center is probably my favorite place. You can hike, you can do a lot of trail riding, biking, you can do whitewater activities, a lot of zip lining and those activities. A lot of our residents utilize that. It's a really fun outdoor venture. That's the Charlotte Knights Stadium. That's a look at that, looking back towards us in the Uptown. Next. And that's, of course, the Panther Stadium. I hope everybody would recognize that. We're big fans here, although we're not doing very well recently. Listen, one thing I wanted to say about this is that you can really live in the city close to the hospital, which I think is favorable for residents. Most people live pretty close. I live about, faculty a little bit different. I live about 6 miles away. Dr. Clark lives very close. And so a lot of residents will walk to work. So there's definitely that opportunity. And it just shows you where that area is in the Midtown. That's kind of area where the hospital is, and these different neighborhoods around that create opportunities for the residents to live close. So this, I'll just end with this, and I know Peter talked about this before. We really are focused around patients, and our mission is really clear, and we really talk about this a lot. I talk this about a lot to the residents, the advanced practice providers, that we really are about patient care. We're about education. We're about service, research, how that works around the patient, and then really how to do that at every point and in every rotation. And that ultimately is what drives us and really drives the way we align our rotations. And like I said, although we had our rotations definitely don't change much year to year as they did before, we're always looking to evolve. That's really the culture we are, and hopefully that's what we will always be. And I think certainly one of the awesome things about our program is just that we really believe we can be better next year than we were this year, and that's really a team sport, and the faculty are really engaged in that, and certainly really engaged around resident education, and everyone's really enjoys being here. I will end this other thought. Sometimes folks ask me, what do you like so much about being here? And I say, well, I tell you what is clearly apparent to me, not just in resident education, but just being a part of the faculty here and a part of this system, is you rarely see people leave. And I think that is because of the culture. The system as a whole really looks out for each other, really has a very collaborative and collegial atmosphere. And that extends down to our training programs, whether it be urology, general surgery, internal medicine. I think you'll find the collegiality here is second to none, and that makes it for a very fertile place to train and to work and to be a part of. And when you marry that together with a desire to really be a part of something bigger than yourself, and what you have is a really unique environment, I think, to serve and to learn. So with that, I will end. I look forward. I think we're going to have another opportunity to do some question and answers at another time, and so I appreciate whoever is looking at this, and we hope the opportunity to get to speak with you further. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate your time, and we look forward to another session where we can answer your questions. And please reach out, whether it's by Twitter or email or directly in other ways, and we'll be happy to try and answer your questions as best we can. Thanks, and have a good day.